Hey everybody, welcome to Frannie's Hair. I am so excited about today's video. We're going to be talking about the Airstyler, the 3-in-1 tool from Envy. And I actually have some of the education team here to lead us in a tutorial. You guys know I'm not great at styling, so if I can do this, you can do this. And they're also going to share some tips and tricks that you're only going to get here. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So first, let me introduce you to the two people we have here from Envy. First, we have Amber, and you may have seen her on Fabricating Fringe. I watched many of those videos. I'm sure you guys have too. And then we also have Sabrina, and I knew Sabrina from Ellen Villa days. So, do you guys want to just introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
Yes.
Sure.
Go ahead, Amber.
So as Franny mentioned, my name is Amber Perkins, also known as Fabricating Fringe. I am part of the Envy education team along with Sabrina, and it's just a joy doing what I love and sharing what has changed my life and improved so many others' lives as well.
And my name is Sabrina, as Fran mentioned. I've worked with Fran for a couple of years now, I think going on that long, with Ellen Villa. And now I am a part of Envy, as you know, that new partnership that took place earlier this year. I work on education with Amber as well, and so excited. This industry is near and dear to all of our hearts. So I'm just so excited at the evolution and evolving things happening here.
Yeah, so true. And this tool is one of those things because with this tool, you're going to be able to use it on heat-friendly and non-heat-friendly wigs. I am so excited about this. And there's actually 3 attachments so far, right? Maybe
Yeah.
in the future we'll see more.
Fingers crossed.
Um, and I've actually started working with it, and there are some things that you're going to want to know when you go to use it. It doesn't work like your regular curling iron on regular natural hair. So I'm going to ask Amber and Sabrina to take us through a little bit about the tool, and then we'll start the tutorial.
Yes, I love that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen real quick so that everyone can see this information because I think it's super important to know kind of the background on regular synthetic hair. You kind of said that already, Fran, that you can use this for regular synthetic fiber. And I think that's something that a lot of people are like, still like, what? Are you sure? And so I'm going to give just a little information about that. So right now, when you have regular synthetic fiber, so not heat friendly, not blends, regular synthetic fiber, the way that that's created in the factory to get those beautiful waves and curls, kind of like what you see here with the Style Brianna from Envy. The factory, when they're creating this, they have that synthetic fiber and they roll it out onto these big rods. And these rods, you'll see them in that screen up there. You guys can all see my screen, right? Okay, perfect. So you'll see different size of those metal rods. They're big ones, they're small ones, and that's dependent on how big or small we want that curl to be. And so they'll lay it out on these rods and then they put them in these gigantic racks that go basically into these huge ovens. And the synthetic fiber starts to bake essentially. And it sits there for about 30 minutes up to an hour at the temperature 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And then what they'll do after it's cooked, they'll roll these racks out and allow that hair to cool completely. And then from there, it moves on to the rest of its production stages. But that's how you get those beautiful curls that are baked in and you get that permanent style with synthetic fiber, which we all love because it's ready to wear out of the box, super easy and convenient. But that's also a limitation with synthetic fibers. We can't change up that style. You know, what you get is what you're going to have. And, you know, some people like to mix it up still. Sometimes I want this to be straight or a little wavy, not as curly. And so it's really been drilled into our heads that you can't apply heat to regular synthetic fiber. And that's why this tool is so incredible because it not only does it work for all the fibers, now you can style regular synthetic fiber and really essentially gain that control back of wearing your wig. And so that's why this tool is so incredible. You have the 3-in-1 air styler tool now. And I just want to show you guys a quick slide because we're going to talk about all these benefits and everything that you see here. But I want to show you this recommended settings screen. If you guys want to take a picture of this, maybe pause the video. This is some great information on the basics of the tool features, but let's show the tool up close and personal here. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick, and we'll just go over kind of the basic features of this tool. So you have the base of the tool here. Everyone has theirs. And you will see there's the airflow settings. You have a low airflow and a high airflow. And we'll talk about how the experience has been for all of us, but I really use low airflow for basically everything, unless I'm drying or smoothing out a huge section. And then cool air shot, super important. You have to use a cool shot when you're styling, like when you're trying to add a curl, you got to use that cool shot. And your heat settings down below. You have low, medium, high. Low, great for any fiber, really great for like touch-ups. Medium is for regular synthetic fiber. And then high heat is for heat-friendly human hair, your blends. And of course, you have that unlocking mechanism back here so that you can easily attach a tool or take it off. So it's very user-friendly. It's super convenient. And I mean, I love that you have all these tools in one. You don't need your blow dryer, flat iron, curling iron, or steamer anymore. It's super convenient.
Yeah, not just for styling your wigs, but also say you get a wig with box hair, you
Yes.
know, and you're not, especially with a regular synthetic, people felt so stuck, and now
Yeah.
they don't have to.
100%. And also the thing that makes it so different, Fran, I'm sure that we had conversations about this, Amber, you and I both too. I was kind of like, well, what makes this so different than all the other tools on the market that use air? And it really is the fact that it's specifically calibrated for alternative hair. So those heat setting temperatures aren't going to go high enough to damage your fiber. And that hasn't been an option in our industry. All those tools that use air or traditional tools out there are set for biological hair, so higher heat setting. So with this tool, you don't have to worry about damaging your hair. It's safe for regular synthetic fiber. So I think that's what's really, really incredible. And Fran, you showed those 3 attachments.
Yes.
So I'd love for us to kind of go into what these attachments are and what they do. Amber, if you want to kind of share the benefits of these amazing things.
So I have attached here the oval round brush. I love this attachment. If you want more of a blowed out look, you do want to help fix a face flopper. You want to add slight bend to the ends. You want to just blow dry it out smooth. It can be used for so many different things. That's the beauty of all 3 attachments, is they're very interchangeable. So we'll show you, you can do this with this, but you might want to use for instance, the small round brush to smooth out because it's smaller, it has more tension, things like that. For smoothing, we recommend the oval round brush, but I have used the styling one. So again, very, very versatile on what you're trying to achieve. And as you play with it, you'll discover what tool you love, what tool works for what you're trying to achieve. And there's so many things you can do with it, especially what you said, Frannie, the box hair, the corrections, the customizations. That's the game changer, especially for me as an everyday wig wearer. A lot of people do feel stuck when they open up a box and it comes a certain way. It's a synthetic wig, a traditional synthetic wig, and there's beauty in that. There's convenience in that. We all love it. But sometimes we feel like we're stuck or we have to go and steam. And as most of you guys know, if you've tried steaming, it's a whole other ball of wax. Like there's a lot that goes into that. And there's the drying, and if you're going to add curl, that takes a lot of skill, and you have to wait for it to dry. Then you have kinks because of the pins. I mean, all of that. And this takes that away. You can go in there and add curl, make it more bouncy, smooth it out. That just has changed the way I have thought how alternative hair and that journey goes. It's just made it better.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, I guess I'll go on with these attachments. I'm rambling and rambling. So we have the small round brush. This is fantastic for adding volume. If you have pixies, you want to redirect knots, things like that. And then, like I mentioned, you have the oval round brush, great for smoothing, removing frizz at the nape, things like that. And then, of course, this is one of my favorites. They're all amazing, but we have the wand. And you can use this as a traditional curling clamp or like a wand. So however you like to use your curling wands, you can do it with this. The only thing with this wand, it is 1¼ inches in diameter. So if you're doing a shorter style like the one I'm wearing right here, you might get more of a bend or a slight wave because of that diameter, but you can achieve some amazing, beautiful, beachy and voluminous curls with this wand.
And which wig are you wearing?
I'm wearing Lisa, all nice and waved. I love it. And
Wow.
I've washed this here, Lisa. This is a blend of 30% human hair, 70% heat-friendly synthetic. And I have worn this wavy style multiple times, and she's dried curly after wash. I wouldn't say curly, but that slight loose wave. I love the blend.
That's amazing. I would have never known that was Lisa because I wear Lisa all the time. You guys know that. I actually have a video coming out where I did 3 colors of Lisa, comparing them. I love Lisa.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I love that. And Fran, I can't wait to hear kind of how the experience has been for you so far, because you've had your tool for a little while now. So what's your feedback been?
Well, I really like it. It was a learning process for me because, like I said before, I expected to just put it in, take it out, there's the curl. It's not quite like that. There's waiting, there's the cool shot, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to do. You just have to kind of reset the way you think about how you style.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's been our slogan, is rethink the way you style alternative hair. I had the same challenge you did, because I'm like, this isn't working. It's not working. It's definitely a little bit of a learning curve. It's a new tool. With any new tool, takes some practice, getting used to, but once you get it, it's so easy right after. When we first came out with this tool, we were actually at a special event for American Hair Loss Council, and Amber and I were demoing this tool kind of as a first time anyone saw it. I actually have the style Glamour Mono here from Ellen Villa. She comes out of the box smooth and straight. We've added those beautiful voluminous curls that you see here. And when I tell you this girl has gone through it, she was our demo girl the entire 3-day weekend that this event was going on. She's been our model for our signature shots that we've gotten, those signature looks for this whole tool. And she still feels incredible after being curled and straightened over and over and over again. She still looks amazing. And I mean, I'm wearing the style Brianna right now. So, you know, she comes with these beautiful voluminous curls. Amber, do you have the smooth one with you?
I do right here.
So Amber has same style, different color, completely transformed, smoothed it out with that oval round brush. I mean, it's incredible. The feedback that we heard, and so many people, I mean, even some people got emotional about this tool because they're like, I have that freedom again with my wigs, or they have like a bag full of wigs in their closet and they're like, I can bring it back to life now. I'm not out of all these wigs. And it's just been amazing, the feedback. Amber, I know you've heard some really great stories too.
Yeah, I think that it just puts more control in the end consumer's hands. We talked about, I'm going back to this, but box hair, or feeling like you have a bag of wigs or a certain style that you absolutely love, you don't want to get rid of, but you either need to take it in and get it professionally refurbished or pull out the steamer. And often when people steam, they go from their curly styles and they're bone straight, so they don't have the style they once had. They can't obtain those beautiful bouncy curls. And I love that this tool can achieve those bouncy curls, those wavy, very in styles. And then you can go in there and switch things up. You can go and defrizz. You can eliminate permatease. You can change up the part. Like it just, there's so many, it opens up so many doors for those who are wearing hair. And that's where we had those limitations with synthetic fiber. And I keep going back to, like, we all love synthetic. Most of us love the convenience of traditional synthetic fiber, but there are some, you know, disadvantages, and this tackles those disadvantages. And like you mentioned, Franny, like starting with the tool, there is a learning curve. One, because who's really worked like this on traditional synthetic fiber? None of us have. So there's a learning curve there. And then also, when we have gone in to style a wig, whether that be heat friendly, human hair, or working on biological hair, you have these tools that are calibrated for those fibers or human hair. And this is different than that. It's been created specifically for traditional synthetic. So of course you can use it on all the others. And so I think having patience and then practicing and just testing it out, going in there with an open mind and looking at it like, okay, look what I can do with this, and just exploring what this tool can do for you.
And the fact that, Sabrina, you talked about, you know, really working on glamour. And I actually have a question about that I'm sure people want to know. But working over and over, if you know, okay, it's not a big deal. If I do something and it's not right, I can keep working on this and it's not going to ruin the wig. I think what people might ask is, did you have to use any special products to keep it in good condition? Anything like that?
And no, that's a great question. I actually did not use any products on the style. This tool works great in a dry condition. So if you just take the hair and go in and style it, it works great on dry hair. You can also get it wet with water if you wanted to. We saw great results with that as well. It may take just a little bit longer because you have to dry it in that process. But yeah, styling products are totally optional. The only actual product I recommend is like a heat protector product when you're working with human hair. So anytime human hair is present, throw in a little, you know, heat treat, you know, miracle 3-in-1, all the names, but a heat protector. But we did use like flex hold hairspray for some looks, and that was just more of just to get some extra product style hold in there, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do that. So no, you can get that flexibility still.
And when you say human hair, do you also mean like envy hair, the human hair blend? You would also use that on. Okay.
Yes. And then also great tip that you brought up envy hair. We had a little struggle kind of styling envy hair. And that's because whenever there's human products, sometimes there'll be like maybe a conditioning kind of product over it. And it's kind of hard to fight through that when we first got it out of the box. So if you find that your style is not like taking a curl, give it a wash first, let it dry, and then go in and do it. It's kind of like when you go to a salon and you get your hair like an updo. They don't want fresh, clean hair because it's too slippery. It's same concept as if you're having that struggle, it's not really grabbing on that curl, wash it, let it kind of do its natural texture thing, and then go in and do it. So that was a tip for your followers as well that we discovered.
Right.
I know you were saying you're like, I'm not a stylist, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. I think it'd be great to kind of show some demos, just showing how we get some of those looks. And then Fran, if you want to show some demos also, we can have Amber start off with like doing some of the curls that you can see there, and then just see how easy it is to do.
Okay, great.
I'm gonna make her a little bit bigger here so everyone can see her a little more up close.
Okay. So I have Belinda as well, just like Franny. And just like the Glamour Mono that Sabrina was showing us, this Belinda has been through it. She was part of the, you know, all the photos in the photo shoot with the model. And then at American Hair Loss, curled and then straightened, curled and then straightened. And so, I mean, the fibers feel great. With all that we've done to her, I'm so impressed. So I'm going to attach the wand. It's super easy. Just like that. You hear that click. Now, I do want to point out when you're working with a wig that has a lot of layers, you can go in there with the styler off, get your curl in place, and then turn it on. as you play with the styler, if you'd like to turn it on and then, go for it, you can do that as well. You kind of learn how you like to use it and what works best for you. Now, do we need to put it on mute so that you guys can't hear the tool?
Yeah.
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
Maybe just say what settings you're going to use right now and then go ahead and go to mute. That way everyone knows what you're using.
Okay, so since I'm working on traditional synthetic, I am going to start at medium heat and low fan volume. Like Sabrina mentioned, most of the time, I always use the low fan volume. It's rare that I use high unless I'm working in larger sections. I'm using the oval round brush, I'm drying, things like that. So I'll use the low fans setting, make sure my cool shot is off. I've done that a time or two, where I'll
I
turn
have
it on.
too.
Yep, and it's like, oh, it's not working. It's because I have the cool shot on. And like I said, I'm going to start at medium and I'll go for the beachy wave. Now, when I'm using the medium heat setting, I'm going to keep the styler on the fiber for 20-25 seconds and then put the cool shot on for another 20-25 seconds. Now, I know Sabrina and we started, playing with the higher setting. If you use the higher setting on your traditional synthetic, keep it on for no longer than 10 seconds and then definitely use your cool shot for another 10. The cool shot is essential. We're going to like drill that into your head because the cool shot is what is going to help, re-solidify that style, that curl in place. Okay, so I'm going to put this on mute and get started. I guess Sabrina, you can explain what I'm doing.
Yeah, if I need to, go ahead.
And while she's doing this, I'm just going to say that the smaller the section you take, I found, the more curl you get.
Yes, same. I've discovered the same thing too. Unless you're going for a looser type of wave or curl, your sectioning will matter 100%. And it kind of goes into your timing of things too, because if you think how much hair you're wrapping around that barrel, it needs more time to really warm up. And so if you want more volume, a tighter curl, those smaller sections are great.
This is where I really messed up the first time I used it. I was like, oh, put it in, take it out.
Guilty. This has made me discover how impatient I was. Well, I kind of knew that, but I feel like a lot of people will discover that about themselves when it comes to styling.
Look at
That's
that.
amazing, Amber.
Okay, took it off mute. So that's your beachy wave. And I did use medium heat. Like I heard you guys discussing patience.
Yeah.
And so I always go back to, okay, first of all, when did we have the ability to do something like this on our traditional synthetic? And if we did go and reach for a steamer, talk about patience, right? Like talk
Right.
about hoping and praying that it's going to turn out. And when you pull out those pins and stuff the next day, that you're going to get something like this. So, okay, now let's do the voluminous curl. I'm going to do the same thing, the medium, and I'm going to turn off my cool shot and go for it. Okay.
Another thing I wanted to point out, Fran, and I don't know if maybe you noticed this too, is when you see Amber curling, she's kind of keeping that hair more towards the top half of the barrel. When we turn on that tool for the curling wand attachment, because the air flows out and it's being tunneled like that, I found that there was more air towards the top half. And so I try to leave most hair at that top half of the barrel because I feel like I've just gotten better results. Have you noticed that with
I
yours?
did. I
Okay.
did notice that. I didn't know the reasoning for it, but I knew that at the end I got
Yeah.
better results.
And okay, look at the difference of
Yeah.
this curl. Same tool, but the way you use it, you can change up your looks. It's incredible.
So I noticed that Amber rolled it, it looked like she was holding it horizontally. This is
Yeah.
more a style question. Is that the better way to do it for that type of curl?
If
For the
you're wanting volume, you want to do it horizontal because that allows you to roll it all the way on the base. If you're looking for more of a loose, relaxed, less volume, hold your tool vertically, like how you saw when she was doing the wand. Those two methods will really determine the difference in your curl for sure.
That's so great. That's amazing.
And you
Love that.
can pin. So I've done a whole head of the luminous curls, and I've done it with and without using, some pins. Sometimes
Mhm.
using them, it's just simply nice to get the curl that you just achieved out of the way and then work on the next one. Because you use that cool shot, it's not totally necessary, but I've done it and it just will further help those curls cool and set in place. So that's another tip as well for those who are watching.
Yeah.
And I know that we have a bunch of questions from my private Facebook group. I asked everybody for their questions, but as this goes, I have some of my own.
Yeah.
So once you have the curls in, how have you found they wear? Like, do they start to relax after a while?
I have found that with washing, you'll notice a little bit of relaxation. The bend and the style is there. For instance, I curled and styled an Envy London in a loose wave. So you already have a very relaxed curl to start with.
Yeah.
And then after wearing and then washing, drying, it still maintained that loose bend, but it was slightly relaxed. But the beauty of that is I can go right back in with the styler and bounce it back up. In fact, I did take that same London and I went in and I created a more voluminous curl, and it had a retro vibe to it. It had the sweeping back bang. And so I just love that I took London from smooth and sleek, the way she came, to beachy wave, to retro curls, all with the styler.
That's amazing. It really is.
All
Yes.
right. Fran, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to try to do a curl while we're here?
Sure. Sure. So I have to mute this. You guys can talk and laugh about how I do this.
And
Let's,
if you have any questions, unmute or whatever
Yeah,
you
we're
need to do.
here.
okay. Or if you know sign language, maybe. All right. I'm going to mute.
I was going to say that I did take Belinda and I kept the styler on the hair for an extended period of time on high heat. And it has never melted any of the wigs that I've worked on. If anything, there's a little bit of wilting, but you can go
Mhm.
in and remedy that with your styler with the product. Spritz a little bit of water, go through and smooth the fibers. In fact, when I was working on Belinda, the fibers are so great the way that they take heat and react to it.
Yeah.
The only thing it did when I kept it on for way over what we recommend, it really was just more limp. It didn't take the curl. So
Yeah.
what have you experienced with that, Sabrina?
Same thing. If you leave it on too long, sometimes you feel a little bit of that dryness. And what I found was you just spritz a little bit of water on that affected area. And then I went through with my round volume brush to smooth it back out. And it was just like new again. Like kept it nice and smooth. There was no like heat damage. It just felt a little dry, but you go and rehydrate it a little bit and it was perfectly fine right after. So I think that's a great kind of safety net. If anyone's scared to do this, you're not going to mess it up. Like you're totally fine. These temperatures are set so where you're not going to burn this fiber.
Mhm. For
And
best results, of course, follow, what we recommend, that not over 10 seconds for high heat, and of course the cool shot. But you're gonna definitely be able to go and fix something that you may have gone in and styled in a way that you're not happy with or whatnot, or maybe made it kind of crunchy. Speaking of those ends that are crunchy, I mean, I know that a lot of our high heat synthetics, they get really crunchy. They get kind of, I don't know, just separated and thick. And I have found that going in there with the small round brush or the oval brush, going in there, having that little pop of heat with the very safe bristles really helps eliminate that friction frizz beautifully.
I see what you did, Fran. I see that.
You see, I didn't know if it's in the camera
Yeah,
here.
maybe turn your head just a little bit more. That way, turn it just slightly more.
I don't know how to do it on this.
Oh, it's one. Okay, gotcha.
There we
Okay,
go.
perfect. Yeah.
I see it. It's
Yeah.
pretty.
You see it?
Yep. And I noticed that you went in vertically, like how you had pointed out horizontal or vertically. And because you did it more to vertical, it's more relaxed and more towards the end versus like something super high lifted.
Right. That was
yeah.
what I was going for. So I'm glad.
Good. Yeah, and that's a regular synthetic wig, right?
Yes.
That you
This
have
And this is
regular
fresh out of
synthetic.
the box too. So
Right.
this
This
one
is
has been
Belinda right out of the box. She's so pretty too. So I should try one of the thicker, right?
the voluminous curls. So you
Yeah,
can
roll
do
it the other way.
smaller
I'll try.
section. And then really the whole concept is getting that lift up at the root and curling it with the clamp horizontally to get that type of more bouncy, voluminous curl.
I had done a styling video and I got comments like, you might want to hold it like this. You might, everybody's so helpful. They're like,
Everybody holds it differently. Like I watch some, amazing stylists and they do all these cool things with the way they use their wands and their tools. I'm like, oh, I don't know. That's a bit technical for me.
well, so I'll try this and put it on mute. And in the meantime, I can tell you one of the questions was somebody wanted to know, can you use this tool when the wig has the silicone spray on it? So I'll let you guys roll with that while I try this.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I have not personally tried it with one that has a silicone spray. I would imagine it would be the same type of concept if you're having trouble kind of breaking through that. I would just give it a wash. I don't think it's ever to the point that it's coated so much that you wouldn't be able to manipulate the hair. I would just give it a wash if you were having any difficulty. Another thing that I wanted to point out, Fran, you were saying that you weren't a stylist, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who are not a professional stylist that work with a curling iron all day, all the time. One thing or a few tips that people can do if you're not too sure how to curl, because sometimes it's an awkward feeling if you're not doing it regularly, have the fan off, wind the hair up around the barrel, and then turn the fan on. You don't have to have this tool on while you're going through. Practice that motion, kind of get it down, and then you'll get more comfortable with it. So that's a great tip if somebody isn't sure how to use this, they're a little scared. I did the same thing when I first became a stylist, trying to work a Marcel iron. I just kept the tool off, practiced the motion, and then started working with it on. So you can curl that and then turn it on after the fact. Another thing that you did, Fran, that you just did, I don't even know if you noticed that you did it, is when you were holding the hair, I have a shorty here, so it's a little hard to show you. You were rolling it while it was up. And so while you do it up, you get more volume. If you had started down here and curled, it wouldn't be able to get that volume. So the way you hold the hair will also affect the type of curl you're going to achieve. So these are all things that you want to play with and get a feel for what you're used to, what you like, your preferences. You can really achieve so many different looks with this. You're doing great. You're doing great. Oh, look at that.
So one thing I noticed that I did was I had it on the bigger end of the barrel rather than this end by the time I got it rolled up. So it's probably not as tight, as it could be. Can you see it
I
there?
can see the volume though. It
Yeah.
added more
Oh
volume.
yeah, you can definitely see this up here.
Uh-huh. And you can see the bend, the curl. You can totally see it. So depending on what you're trying to do, that might be exactly what you're going for. So, and like we said, practice makes perfect. I love what Sabrina said about rolling before you turn it on, because if somebody's stressed out about, oh my gosh, let's get it all wrapped up and perfect on this barrel before within this amount of time, that gives you that time to really play with it and perfect how you're doing things
Yeah.
while it's
I
off.
always roll it before I turn it on because that's just too much for me at once.
I know that we want to be able to show your followers a lot of tips and tricks and everything. So I'm actually, Amber, I'm gonna have you grab that really crazy looking girl, because I think this is what a lot of people are going to relate to. We have a 100% heat-friendly synthetic fiber, and as most people know who have ever worn a synthetic wig before, those do get really prone to tangles and matting and looking very crazy in the nape and at the ends. And so we just want to show quickly how this tool is great for styling, but how it's going to change the game as far as reviving and maintaining your styles as well. So as Amber gets that set up, this is going to be the same process you do, even if you have a wavy synthetic style. I know some people ask that, like, I have a curly synthetic. How can I fix those ends without losing the style? And before, all we had was steam. And if you do steam, you get bone straight at the end of it. And you're just like, great, now I lost my curl. So this process that Amber is going to show you is the same thing that you'll do with a regular wavy synthetic style. The only difference is you'll probably swap out the tool. So because she's working on a straight wig and a bigger section, she's going to use the oval smoothing brush. If you have a wavy style that's regular synthetic, you just want to focus on the ends, just use your round volume brush and work at the ends. If it gets to the point that you've really relaxed the style out, you can go in and curl it back with the curling wand. And so I think that's what's so amazing. So she has the style here that's heat friendly. You can see she's seen better days, just like a lot of our wigs have. And you'll see this tool, because these teeth, Amber has it right there, these teeth are wide apart. So they kind of act as a dual motion here. They have wide teeth, kind of like a wide tooth comb, and then you utilize that heat to really soften and loosen that hair so you can easily detangle. Go ahead, Amber.
Okay, so I'm just going to explain what I'm doing real quick, then I'll put it on mute. I have the oval round brush. That's what I'm going to start out with. Like Sabrina mentioned, often I'll go in with the smaller one because of the tension. Maybe I want to add a slight bend to the ends once I get that friction frizz and the tangles from the nape out, and just hone in there on some smaller areas with this one. But I'm starting with this one, and like she was mentioning, the wider, softer bristles are safe. It's just like going in there with your wide tooth comb. And we always still recommend, going through your wigs, especially your, heat friendly, well, all of them really, your heat friendly, your traditional synthetic with your wide tooth comb, your detangler. But I've noticed that it glides through these tangles and this frizz so well, with the combination of that, like that pop of heat and the air and the bristles, just the combination, it works beautifully. So let me put you on mute and I'll get going with that.
Fran, did you have any questions, like any other questions that maybe we can answer while Amber is going through this one and people are watching? I'm actually going to put her in a more of a spotlight position so everyone can see what's going on. There we go.
Okay. Well, first off, can this be used on other brands of wigs or only on MV wigs?
Great question. You can use it on all brands of alternative hair. The fibers are going to be the same as far as like the melting points go. So you can use this on all brands. The only thing I would take into consideration, some brands use different densities. And so if you have a wig that's way more dense, go in and just use smaller sections. And so that's really going to be the biggest point of difference, but it's safe to use on all the brands.
Look at that.
Transformation.
Oh my gosh, that's just amazing. Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. But yes, you can use it for all the brands. And then what you would do is just take that section by section and revive that wig.
That's great. And
Yeah.
so if you have a wavy wig and you just want to do the ends,
Mm-hmm.
you just
Yeah, if
take,
I were working like on Belinda right here, I would take my tool and just focus on smoothing out these ends, I'd have my tool on medium heat. Even if you use high heat, you'd be okay because you're in a constant motion. You just don't want to leave it on high heat. So you can go with medium heat, high heat, and just focus on those ends. If it gets to the point that it's straight, just use your curling wand to add some curl back into there. But this allows you to really go in and focus on the ends.
That's great. So do you want me to start asking the questions from my Facebook?
Yeah, of course. Let's get those questions.
All right. So from Regina, she said, I really would like to know how to put a little more lift in a flat wig that needs a little curl to it, but curl like a little more body. And I guess that's what we were doing before when we curled up to the top here.
Yes. You did a perfect example of that. If you're wanting to get just some lift on there, you can go in with the round volume brush and like really get in there and just kind of let it sit and get that lift. Or you can use the curling wand like you just did. And what you can do, I'm going to kind of attach this real quick, is you could take that section of hair where you want some volume and literally just lift and let it sit there. You don't even have to go through the whole curl. You can just get some lift. And then when you remove it, you're going to have that more of a bounce. So a lot of people would love that in the crown area. I just saw somebody on Instagram do that, and it was incredible. Like, these tools are so versatile. So if you want just more lift, either one of these are going to be great because you can really get into that base and add some lift. And then, like you said, for body and curl, more of like that horizontal type of placement to get more lift and volume out of there.
Great. Okay. From Kimberly, I'd love to see you fix a face flopper. So would I. As a matter of fact, when I put Belinda on, I had a little bit of a face flop on a shorter, non-heat friendly wig.
Okay.
That her newest dance isn't behaving.
Gotcha. Okay. So I have a shorty here. This is actually the style Call. And so she's a little pixie, right? I will say you're going to have better results when it's hand tied. So I wanted something that had a lace front so you can really redirect the knots at the base. If it's not hand tied, you have a little more restriction because that weft can only move in so many places. And so hand tied is going to give you better control, better results there. And so if you were wanting to just redirect the knots like a face flopper, and Amber, yours is probably a little more of a face flopper because she's longer.
Yes, this is Belinda as well. Like we both have Belinda sitting here.
Yeah.
And it's the side part. So it does have kind of that face swapping, does have that lace front. So just using the small volume round brush or even the oval smoothing brush and redirecting those knots away from the face, it works so well.
I'm actually, oh, sorry. I said I'm actually going to mute myself and work on this one so you guys can see what I'm doing. If you guys want to chat a little bit more about it, but let me just mute myself real quick. Hold on one second. Spotlight. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go to mute and you'll see how I'm going to redirect these knots here.
And while she's redirecting these knots, adding volume to these pixies, it's incredible for that. Moving the hair away from the face, of course, it works amazing with that. Also, I used actually all three of the tools. I cut a bang into a style, and the bang was bone straight and kind of hanging in the eyes. So I used the wand to just add more bend to the bang and have it just fall on my forehead just more pleasingly, I guess. And
Yeah.
it was just incredible where in the past, I'm not going to wear the wig. I'm going to throw it in the closet. I'm done with it because I cut the bang and it's ruined. Or I want to go in there with the steamer and who knows how it's going to turn out. So I was able to achieve the style I wanted just in the kitchen. I was in my kitchen and I went and grabbed the wand and quickly added that bend to that bang, and it changed it up for the better. And then I wore that wig all over the place. So to be able to go in there and utilize this tool like we would with our own biological hair. Like anybody with their bio hair, they're going to go and grab their heat tools, the things they like to use on their hair to tweak their hair to fit their own personal needs, their own preferences and style. And now we can do that with all of our fibers, including
That's
the ones we
great.
were always told, hey, you can't do that. So I
Now,
love how fast that Sabrina's doing.
I know, look at that. Now, Sabrina mentioned if you don't have a lace front, because you don't have that, hand-tied knotting there, it's a little bit more difficult. But is it still doable?
Well, you can remove permatease. I've taken wigs with heavy permatease and smooth that out. So if you have a wig that has wefting or permatease, a bang that's in the face, you can still move those fibers, manipulate the fibers with that heat and push them where you want them to go. If there's a weft that's like Sabrina mentioned, so for instance, if there's a weft that is sewn in and it's going downwards, there's only so much you can do with the way that those hairs are sewn in, the direction of those hairs. But, with adding volume to a weft, that's exactly what you're doing, is you're kind of changing the direction and manipulating it to be styled or changed up the way you want it to.
Right, that's what I would think. You could still move that hair, bend the hair. Yeah, great.
My air was on, so I didn't hear everything you guys said, but I got a little lift there, and I've seen Amber, fix a fringe when you get a fringe style, like fix that up for you, and so it's really incredible.
Looks good, Sabrina. It's like it was right hanging in the face and then
Yeah,
out. I've worked with this tool over and over again for the past months, and I'm shocked sometimes when I see the changes and what it can do. I'll be working on hair that I'm wearing and just go and quickly change a cold crimp or something. And it's so fast and convenient and efficient. And I'm like, wait, what? It's so amazing.
and you could really take a short style like that and make it funky too,
Mhm.
which is great.
Yeah,
But even that's a little funky in the front there.
I love that. And there was no product. I put a little bit of water to spritz it up, but that was it. But if you wanted to piece it out, get some shaping cream or any of that and get some texture in there. And that was a great question. I forgot the name of the person you said asked that about shorter.
That was from Kimberly.
Kimberly. Yeah, great question, Kimberly. Did anybody else have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now this one, actually, we talked about a little bit, and we got it from a few people in different forms. Susan, Karen, and Nancy. It's all about fixing frizz while still being able to maintain your original wave or style. So we did touch on that. Sometimes the frizz goes up higher, and
Right.
at that point, you're going to have to be able to use your styler to get that style back, which.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it'll probably loosen it a bit if you are just going through it to remove the frizz. But yeah, that's why it's so great that this is another attachment, because you can add that curl back in, which, as you guys all saw, was a lot quicker than steaming, like within minutes. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
get this back. So it's incredible.
Well, with me and my styling skills, steam was a disaster. So I was always trying to do something different. That's what I loved about this. I was like, oh my gosh, I can do it.
I don't know if you guys have seen the Charlotte from Envy, but she has a very loose wave like this that I created.
I'm
And
wearing it.
oh, okay. Yep. Okay. So it's very loose. And so speaking of curls that, somebody might pull a wig out of the box fresh and new, and they're like, this is too loose for me. Or even on synthetic fibers over time, those curls can loosen. And so I love not only being able to go in there and remove the friction frizz, say you do go do that, you remove some frizz, you make it nice and smooth, but it does remove some of that bounce. Like Sabrina and you both were saying, going back in there with the wand can just refresh that and add that volume and bounce back in. I did that with Charlotte. I've been wearing Charlotte all year, and I wanted Charlotte to have more of a glam, bouncy curl. And so I took Charlotte and gave her more of a springy type curl, and it just worked beautifully. So that kind of lets you know, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're smoothing because you're removing some wear and tear, or you have some dropped curls, or you have, an originally very loose wave and you prefer more of a bounce, go and switch it up. Make it your own.
Yeah, that's so great because you can have a wig that you've had for a while and you've worn in that style, and then you're like, I'm done with this style. I want something different.
Right.
You don't have to not wear that wig. You can just change it.
Exactly. I love Charlotte on you, by the way. Now that you're like, oh,
Thank you.
Charlotte is one of my favorites, and it looks
Me
so good.
too. Yeah, and this is really right out of the box. This is Honey Breeze for everybody, if you're wondering. And this is
It,
in Almond Breeze. Belinda, what color's your Belinda?
my Belinda is sparkling champagne. I love this blonde. It's one of my favorites. I have it in most of the wigs, sparkling champagne or champagne shadow for blondes. But I love the two colors you have too. They're such great kind of transitional if you wear blondes in the summer and you want to have some highlights, but a lighter, brunette brown for fall and winter. So very, very pretty. Great
Yeah,
on you too.
thank you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Um, From Beth, I'd love to see any tips or tricks for pixies and short styles. So Sabrina was just showing us that. And if you wanted to go all over the head,
Oh,
lift,
yeah.
you could just do that. So that's great. Just seeing if there's
There's
anything.
been some great videos, styling, customizations, tips and tricks all over social media on the Envy page. And then there's on the website, there's also a lot of content that you can go and find for additional information. I've been blown away by seeing what's coming out on social, just what people are using it for and what they're achieving. It's amazing.
It's great. And I think we hit all the questions. I was just reading through all of them. So I think we hit them all.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, those were amazing questions, and I feel like there'll be more as more people get this in their hands and play with it.
Franny,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one last thing though. So based on your loyal followers, those in the group, your clients, what are you most excited about with the tool, and what are your thoughts on how it can help those who you help, your clients and hair sisters?
Well, what I'm most excited about, there's a few things. Number one, you have three different tools in one place. The fact that you can use it on heat friendly and non-heat friendly, to me, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest issues that we see is people getting something with box hair or something a little bit off, or they saw the stock photo and it doesn't look like the stock photo, which happens quite often. Now they can fix it themselves. It's not a big worry, and also, like I said, if you have a style that you've worn for a while and you're tired of the style, I can change it up and keep wearing that wig. I can get more use out of that wig. So to me, there's so many things. I'm really excited about it.
Well, I
I
love
don't know if you can tell.
yes. Well, I love hearing your thoughts and just your excitement. It makes me, all of us, even more excited about it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, I'd love to hear if you've started to use it, if you have any questions or any tips for us. As a community, we really like to share with each other and learn from each other. I'd love to hear all about your experience. So feel free to put them in the comments. Don't forget to come over to the private Facebook group. We have such a great group of ladies there, all helping each other. It's just a great community.
Yes, you've really created an amazing community, Fran, and we love everything that you do, your review videos, all of that. I mean, it's an incredible job, and we want to thank you so much for inviting us to be on this channel with you and do this episode and be able to show you this tool. And we just couldn't be more thankful and so happy to partner with you and all of the above.
And I feel exactly the same way. Thank you for taking the time to show us this. And I know if we have questions, something that I don't know, I'll just come back to you guys and I'm sure you'll help us out.
100%. Yes. All
Okay,
right.
great.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And don't forget to put in the comments your experience and your questions. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.